do, 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 do. Exterm? Whoa, okay. I should probably turn on the system fans. Oh, fans have received power. Very good. Noise. Super noise. Very good. Get my daily dose of Java. Like the creators of sitcoms or junk food or package tours, Java's designers were consciously designing a product for people not as smart as them. Paul Graham. Okay. Get my dealing for today. I said. Jester dealing. That's not good. Jester dealing, jester. Will be added later, explaining the override keyboard below. The output, 2030. With only that much functionality, clock could be a struct as well. And depending on the needs of the program, that could be sufficient. However, okay, I'm back. We're just getting my daily dose of Jesus Christ today. While I get ready. However, being in class makes it possible to inherit from clock. To see example of inheritance is considered an alarm clock that is only. Let's first define this type below with regard to clock. If we did this, we would have a function with to include the same three members of clock and adjust function to them. What programming language? D-Lang. I just had to get my warm-up and my brain cells fired. So we got Jester.d, which is my amazing program. You wrote D, what was it? You meant C or... I meant D-Lang. Bro, I meant D programming language. I've been working on a rewrite. Kind of. Where's the other one? I saved it. I swear to God. Open. Alright. Let's see. First I thought you meant C. I'm sorry. Okay. It's fine. Let's see. So we have string arg. This string arg. And what are we doing with this? Alright, so I'm doing for each arg of args. And it creates a jester and appends it to jester. So that way you can have multiple instances of the jester class. But that's a terrible idea, I think. Anyway, we'll continue. Although I might change this out. Maybe it'll be something different. Maybe it will serve some other purpose. Okay, so that's arg in. Arg in is going to equal, or set this dot arg to that. So let's see, where does it happen? Here. Do you know that we have a programming language named, I use Arch by the way? Yes, I've heard of it. Somebody sent me it too. Write ln gestures. It's like Mul, Bog, B, and Lu language. It's just for fun. Yeah. I figured. Rayon gestures. So we're gonna test that out today. We're gonna test this out. CD. DMD gesture to cannot implicitly convert args one to that of type string to string. What? How's that? It's absolute nightmare, bro. I figured. Cannot convert args one to length of type string array to string. For each arg of args. How is args initialized? It's up here on 14. Runtime args needs to be an array. First mistake solved. Next mistakes. 18. Constructor is not callable using types immutable car. I think it's fine though. I think we just need to redo the compiling step. Not supported for gesture of type gesture. Ah. So that means there is no append. Malbaj is a chapter of the Dante book. It's the hardest programming language because it changes itself. For example, you said int 10th in assembly. Okay. Now imagine it changes itself to be something more like TNI 10th. It replaces the words. That's crazy. But I don't... So apparently this is not supported. However... need to set gesture.length as well. So pretty much the entire append step is just... setting the index of gestures to gesture. And then having an I there. So that's a U-long I. Alright, we should be good. Equals gesture. I also need to increase the length. Or actually, just do a plus I. Or just plus. I wanted to do equals length, but I don't know whether that'd be better to do, or if we set gestures.length to equal I, would that be better or worse? I don't know. Alright. Huh. Oh, right. Needs... gesture2.gesture. So it contains two classes inside my class array. I didn't know you can make a class array. That's fucking crazy. I just made a class array. Wow. So that's awesome, because then for each gesture I can do task.execute new thread, gesture main, or do thing. Gesture.do thing. I love that. That's my favorite favorite thing to do. Void do thing. Had some C++ nerd telling me about how Bro, I gotta step up my game, bro. That's what they were telling me, basically. But it's okay, because they program in C++, so whatever they have to say doesn't matter anyway. For each gesture of gestures, let's go ahead and import task. That's the simplest way to do multi-threading, is to just import task. But that's not really threading at that point. You'd want standard concurrency. There's also fibers, which are really useful apparently. Let me see what I can figure out about that. I have no idea about what fibers do for me. The basic idea is that when a fiber has nothing to do or waits for an input, it actively gives away its possibility to execute instructions by calling fiber.yield. The parent context gains control, again, but the fiber's state, all variables on the stack are saved. The fiber can then be resumed and will continue instruction right after it called fiber yield. Magic? Yes. Fiber yield. This feature can be used to implement concurrency when multiple fibers cooperatively share a single core. The advantage of fibers compared to threads is that their resource usage is lower because no context switching is involved. A very good usage of this technique can be seen in the vibe.d framework, which implements non-blocking, asynchronous I/O operations in terms of fibers, leading to much cleaner code. Guessing that's this on the side. I don't know. Really interesting. Sudo I don't know TM. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is call auto task equals task gesture dot let's see, creating my do thing. And when we initialize these, let's go ahead and give them a number as well. So to initialize them, we'll create a static number, so that way every time they're constructed, it increments static gesture count. Also it needs to be let's go ahead and go u long, or actually u short. It's not going to be longer than 200, or, well, that'd be a u byte, but still, I doubt it will ever be longer than the integer limit for u short, so it'll be fine. Every time that's called in the constructor, we can just do plus gesture count at the end. So for every successful one, that also gives you a way to use thread later without using this thread ID, because you can be like, well, we know that gesture 1 was the first one we sent, so if gesture 1 completes, reappend it to the array on that first one. So that means if I wanted to switch out parallelism for concurrency and use send and receive, I can do that now without implementing TID at all. So there's no need for TID in any capacity. That is something that I think is really good. I'm pretty new to the object-oriented side of D, but it seems like there's some very useful stuff here. as well as inheritance, obviously. Task dot execute. So I'm pretty sure task is some kind of object or data type. Because you can do that. Maybe a class? It might potentially be a class. I'm not sure. Task.execute new thread should, however, be what we need to call afterwards. Write ln and then we're going to write out that, and then should be a really easy way to test out whether or not the code I just wrote works. Missing semicolon before expression of for each. I always do this. It's a mistake I always make. What's the next one? It said, oh, okay, 32. Ah, fun. No property alcohol for, did you mean new gesture? $4.99? Where the fuck is that happening? $8.25? Alias return type fun.urge. Instantiating. Task. Task gesture. Okay, so we know it's something like that. Auto task. Shadowing alias task. Standard parallelism task. Okay, that's a lot of information to understand. Basically, we need to change this, and task.execute in new thread's wrong. Standard.parallelism, so I can get a refresh. Standard.parallelism, algorithm iteration, map, task. You have task args, task fun, task pool. I really haven't actually looked at this documentation for this. Oh, right, you can also get total CPUs too. Task represents a fundamental unit of work. Right, we've read that before. A pointer to the task. Task read. I wonder if you could just... What is task, though? Task is a... Task creates a task on the GC heap that calls alias. Task.execute new thread, or by submitting to a task pool. A globally accessible instance of task pool is provided by the task pool. Or provided by task pool. Right. Task.yield force. These are to test if it, get the results of reading foo.text. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Task new read foo.text. But you also get stuff like, oh, what language is this? D-lang? But I'm trying to see what I did wrong. Execute in new thread. Did I misspell it or something? It's gesturing time? Yeah, we're rewriting Jester. We're writing Jester too. It's gonna have multi-threading and support multiple gestures in the Jester circle. It's gonna be awesome. See, if you haven't been staying up with the series or are new to the channel, I wrote a program called Jester, and it makes fun of Java programmers because I hate Java. So Java is about as fun as an evening with 300 hornets in a 5 meter squared room. Thank you. Java. The wrong people like it. The programmers I admire most are not. The whole captivated by Java. Who does like Java? Suits who don't know one language from another, but know that they keep hearing about Java in the press. Programmers at big companies who are amazed to find that there is something even better than C++. And plug-and-chug undergrads who are ready to like anything that might get them a job. Will this be a test? These people's opinions change with every wind. Man, come on, we don't need all that. Anyway, what was I doing? Associated here from task.jester. Okay. D-Lang. Obviously, we can't do that here. So we're taking each object from the array, and then for each of them, we want to do that. Problem is, if you're using a class and calling a class with task, then you have to handle that somehow. Or send it to another... Well, that's what I'm trying to do, though. Sending it to another thread. No property op call for type gesture2.gesture. I think it's because when you try to put a class in there, and try to execute a method from that class in a new thread, it wants to do that. So, maybe the trick isn't to call this, but to instead call a helper function. That could be a workaround. Have I ever tried assembly? Yeah. I think we did a couple of videos on it last week. Yeah, we did a couple of videos on it before. Maybe like a week or two ago. I don't even remember. Task. Assembly is just not it for me, though. Well, it makes no sense to make a helper function, because I wouldn't just call this anyway. And if I made a helper function, it would literally just be this dot execute new thread. That's not gonna work. For each gesture of gestures. Maybe if I put it in gesture.doThing, and instead of calling anything with task here, it just sequentially does all of them. I don't know why I would need multiple, though. That's the thing. Why would I need multiple? What if I want... I guess it's if you want to call Java. There's no point in having multiple of them, or creating an array of classes. But that's really cool that you can make an array of class objects and operate on them. Like, I really think that's a neat thing I can do. It's not something I need in this program, though. So, why am I doing it? Why not just make a different one that doesn't do this? So, anyway, for each gesture of gestures, write ln, or actually no, do gesture dot do thing. Cool. That's some good looking code right there. Alright, // gesture to hello world. Ah, look at that. It counts 2 before it even gets started. Every time it calls that, it should just do ++ gesture. 8 instances of it. Oh, wait, but it's only calling one instance. Maybe it gets through it really fast. So, what was the write line, though? What did it write out? Jester. We're gonna have a whole circus by the time we're done with this episode, I'm sure. Doesn't plus var increment before use? Yeah. So the idea here with this one is that it will increase the length of the array. Since our array is right here, there's no way to append to a class array from my knowledge. So we just have to do it this way. Unfortunately, even though it'd be cleaner to append, I have to do it like this, so do it manually. I guess I could also say that the name is different for each one, somehow. I guess using an enumeration, or like some kind of way of dynamically assigning a name to each one. Maybe we take a string and assign that. Doesn't have lists or vectors? I don't even know what that is, man. I've never heard of a list or a vector. I bet there is a thing, but I think there is a vector. Dlist? Implements a doubly linked list container. It can be used as a queue, dequeue, or stack. They have unions as well. What is a union, though? I don't even know what a union is. Let me figure that out. Structs and unions are value types. Okay. Oh, I probably won't ever really need a union. Never mind. Oh, okay. Allocate on the heap. Use new, which gives a pointer. So classes go on the heap? Damn, very interesting. I have no idea how that works. You said vectors? Delaying vector? Specialized vector types for like data. An array, which is an array. I don't know. Let's see. So I think what happens is this doesn't. Every time it increments. Oh, you know what it is? So by the time it gets to do thing, each of them. So what needs to happen is we need to have a special one. Called ID, right? So we need to have an ID. And that's what you're going to print out. So you're going to print out jester.id. Jester ID. Alright, so cool. That's going to be assigned as this dot ID equals jester count, which is static. So that's why it was doing that, where it writes 8. You short string. Oh, my bad. I'm brain damaged. Boom. See, I just saw string and was like, yeah, we'll just put string in there. How did I get jester ID, bro? Bro, how How did I screw up so bad? My brain cells are rotted. There we go. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how we can use those. I've done that many times. So that creates our use short ID in arg. What, where you write out one variable up top and then you write out a different one on the bottom and go, how did I screw that up? So void do thing. And then we can handle our args and stuff inside of here. So now it's time to figure that out. And then arg. Let's see what the arg is as well. Please, sudo please write arg. Actually, let's do that first before I get into anything else. That and typing the wrong types. Oh yeah, I've done that 1,000 times. Oh, I mean, I just did it too, so that's... Here we go. Hello world, hello, 1, or whatever the hell that is. Cool. If... Let's start getting into the case handling. So we're gonna do a switch for arg. However, what we can do instead is use ternary. The ternary operator is interesting, and I'm going to need a refresher real quick, because ternary is kind of complicated to understand. Ternary. Ternary operator... Dealing ternary. Ternary operator is a question mark, and it does cool stuff. So, what does it do exactly? Well, you do this. So this is your default. Or no, this is if it's true. And that's if it's false. And then this can be anything. So in this case, they had it as a Boolean, I think. So yeah, you have your truth expression if it's true, but if it's false. So you can set false to your default, basically. And it looks really clean. So that's one of the things I want to implement here. So that way it's... Yeah. It's just I always forget how to do them. I always go, well, how do I do this? Even though they are so simple. So condition, truth, and false. So the condition will be based off of arg though, since arg is going to be passed onwards. So by default, arg is going to equal the enumeration as well. We need to add that in. So enum, and how did we use this before? Oh, anyway. Oh, we used it for paths. So we need to have path, and then we're going to fail, or string. And then we can do fail equals, and then just say home directory, and then the rest. Though at compile time, the home directory is not known. So that's where things got really weird before. I want to try to avoid that. And so what I might do is I might import the path finding information before we even call it. So that'd be standard.file, but we'll have to put it in the top of the class. Should be that. Let's go ahead and put that before there. I want to see if I can create that. I'm pretty sure these are constants and you can't change them after compiling. So, but hopefully they are not. So we need it to be this exe path. But we can't do that right away. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see if we can set it to this exe path. And then compile it as this exe path. If this works, then we're on the right track. Otherwise, we're not. Anyway, let's implement those ternary operators. So we're gonna have, how was it again? Question mark, thingy, colon. Question mark, true, oh, condition, truth expression, and falsity. Alright, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take arg, and then we'll have, no, equals arg. Oh right, because they're basically just initial or assigning a value to the variable. They're just assigning. That's what it is. It's all it is assigning. What is the IDE that you are using? K Advanced Text Editor. We're gonna use that, and then let's see. The default will always be fail, but we'll also give it succeed. We'll just put path.fail. And then pass. Yes, comma, pass. Let's see. And then, yeah, we'll do path.pass. Should work. Hopefully. Now, if this works, I'd be surprised. But this should work. And, write ln arg. Hopefully that works well. Ah, I'm kind of dumb. Forgot that. But apparently it works. Yeah, I figured that cannot be done at compile time. So that would have made things really easy. But unfortunately, it can't really do it. So, although this will simplify it to use these ternary statements. So what we're gonna do is instead we'll save that for later, because we won't be able to do that right now. But for now, let's just focus on getting the enumeration to work. No fail. See if that works. Yes, pass, yes, pass, yes, pass. Apparently it's defaulting to yes, pass for all of them. However... Oh, well, it's because arg does equal arg. If arg equals... Why would I put arg equals... Oh god. Here's what it actually is. If arg equals... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, it would just be... Let's put arg not equals arg, but we'll put arg equals delay as a string. Me looking clumsy right now. Good. That should be perfect. Brilliant, eh? Yes, pass. Nope. Default. Yes, pass. Equals. And also, see what that gives us. False. False. But that would be because it passed the first time. Second time it didn't. Yo, what's up, man? Not much. We're just doing some deprogramming again. Again, TM. What was ARG before, though? ARG was delaying the first time, and then on the second one was nope, and no fail. Cool. So... oh, that one passed no fail. It works, though? No fail? Yep. Good. Java. Delaying. Yes, pass. Cool. We've got it to work. So what is this going to get you at the end? Well, let me show you, because we have actual results from yesterday. Jester Java. I want to know about why Java sucks so bad. Every modern Java program I see embeds its logic in an exaggerated choose-your-own-adventure model where the decisions of where to jump next occur in one-word increments. Diong. So that's what it gets me at the end, is I'm going to be able to do this, but way better. Plus, it's helping me write better code. The DoD likes it. The Defense Department is encouraging developers to use Java. This seems to me to be the most damning sign of all. The Defense Department does a fine, though expensive job of defending the country, but, okay. Their culture is opposite of hacker culture on the questions of software. They will tend to bet wrong. The last time they liked a language, it was ADA. What about delaying? Tell me about delaying today. In fact, template constraints are optional. When overloading an operator, it is advisable to observe them. The return type. Hi, wall. What's up? Oh, and by the way, I have a file for my supporters. Oops. It was working yesterday. It will work by the end of the episode. A whole lot of last line. Jester.d. But anyway, we're rewriting that entire program. So this program, which is terrible, I'm going to make it look way cleaner today by using features that I know. So the enumeration is going to be the same, essentially. All we need to do is put the correct paths. Bad args. Bad arguments. Fail. And instead of putting fail, it's just gonna... Yeah. Bad argument, fail. Sure, that's fine. And then, and then we'll just be able to use these enumerations to check if it's that again, so we don't have to write bad, if it equals bad argument, comma, fail, in a string. Which I don't want to do that. You know I don't want to do that, so... instead of pass, we're going to start off by putting in delay. And after delaying, we're going to put in supporters. Here, man, I just joined to see how you're doing. Hope you continue. Have a nice day. Bye. Thank you, man. Let's see. Let's write a... What am I doing? I lost focus. It needs to be slash data slash delang. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna append this to this path.exe -7. What are we building, chat? Building the Java hater of all time. The ultimate Java hating machine. Here, I will demonstrate it again. Jester Java. See, I really hate Java, so I'm making a machine to hate Java for me. That way I don't have to hate Java as much. I'll give this some time to sink in. Oh, and another one. Java is DSL to transform big XML documents into long exception stack traces. By Scott Bellware. Thank you, Scott Bellware, for making this possible. Your quote is now a part of my Java hating machine. Oh god. My secret delang documentation. Supporters equals slash data slash viewer, and then need to have another one for Java. Actually, we'll just make supporters the last one I implement, since handling its cases before was like a pain in the ass. Alright, so all it needs to do is say if the name equals delang, then path.delang, and then we're going to write the line for arg, just to test it. Oh, actually, we're going to do it for all of them, too. So this is how I'm going to handle it. Instead of using a case, we're going to use ternary operators. And technically... Let me see. The formatting should be different. We shouldn't be putting that before the other one. Okay, because that's going to be handled first. Man, come on. Can't be doing that. Looks bad. So put that there, and then arg comes after. Maybe I should have done that first. Hell, I should have done that first. Alright, equals arg. We're going to change that out for Java. And then we'll do path.java. And then else it will be path.fail. So if it fails, it will just throw whatever path.fail might be. So this basically creates our switching for the different args. It makes it way simpler too. Simplified. Supporters. And that puts it into path.supporters. Now, it will be time to test that. Oh wait, it is on this one. tmd_jester.d Java fail. Bad argument fail for all of them. Huh? What? How the hell does that happen? That's not right. Bad argument fail. So we got delang equals arg. Maybe it does need to be the arg first. But that wouldn't make sense, because it should just equal that. What was my original input for the thing? As you can see, it was delang, which was first. Then, nope. Actually, let's just give it delang. Bad argument, fail. What was arg for that? It was delang though, right? Well, what if we just write ln arg, just to see what it is? You're checking every path in the logic? it will always go arg is not dealing. Check if it's Java. What? I'm confused what you mean. I guess maybe it's because I have it first? I don't understand what you mean. I'm confused. I don't understand how I don't understand what you mean, but maybe I'm guessing it's backwards. 'Cause I figured it should be like the other way around, because it would check that one first and go, well, that, if it's this, then do that. Maybe, actually, instead of doing this, what needs to happen is that arg just needs to be, if it's that, it needs, if arg equals the same as, oh wait, these will be Boolean anyway. Well, actually, it's not an if statement, though. It's, if this statement is true, then assign that to arg. Kind of thing. So that's kind of how that works. See if that fixes it. Okay. Let's see. Arg is d-lang, so if gesture equals the d-lang, and then, or if arg equals d-lang, then continue. If it does not equal d-lang, then no assign. Okay, so that's not working, but why? Let's see, path fail. Maybe it assigns it, and then at the end... Oh, wait, you know what it is? I did this before. I know exactly what I'm doing wrong. Instead of doing path.fail, the default is literally path.fail for args, right? So arg should equal path.fail, regardless. And then we just check it from there. So instead, I'll put the enumeration back up to here, kinda, and then put arg underneath it, and then I'll set arg equals path.fail. Reason I need to do that is because path.fail will be like, yeah, we failed. Let's go ahead and do the next. It will make sense in a second. So if it doesn't equal that, it equals arg. So assign arg to equal itself, basically. Pretty much all of these just have to do arg. No need for path.fail, because it will overwrite if Java fails. So that's what I'm doing wrong. Figured it out, kind of. And as you can see now, it works. Java. Oh, now it's assigning it to Jav. So that's a problem. Assigning arg to arg. Now we need to figure out how to handle that potential. Or instead of doing enumeration at all, why would we... What I can do is just have a string array that literally holds all of these. And make it way simpler. Although, maybe this will be useful. I don't really think it is. Exactly. You could technically handle this with a for each loop, which I think would be way simpler than declaring all of these here. So let's go ahead and just implement a for each loop instead. For each, and then the enumeration, but I don't think enum is a valid. I wonder if it will work if I just do path. That'd be amazing. This is how I learn stuff. Is I go, I wonder if it will work if I do XYZ thing, and then it just breaks, and then I go, oh well, now I know I shouldn't do that in the future. Location? I don't know. Naming shit hard. One time I spent like 30 minutes trying to come up with a name for something, bro. Sometimes it'd be like that, but I've just gotten used to coming up with what the name probably should be. I'm gonna change it to a string array. And not just a regular string array, we're gonna try out that. Actually, we're gonna do a string array, and then, oh, the image in the background? Bro, it's the AI slop image of all time, bro. It's the creaton of Linus, bro. Creaton of Torvalds, or whatever. Viewer generated. Let's see. So technically you can assign a path to a... How does string work though? Oh, it's a good thing I have that open in the documentation. I have the arrays. Let's see if there's a section though, D-lang. Oh, good. There's standard.string. Where's array? I think it's that one. Which gives you all of the rules for how you can use arrays. Let's see. Oh, shit. Actually, would we want a dynamic array? Or no, what is it? Associative. Could we just associate fail and that as one? I don't really remember. God damn it. D-lang associative arrays. Nope. Nope. I'm hiding from that. Associative arrays. Let's see. Spec. Okay, so you can put a string, right? Oh, cool. You can assign a value. Set a key with the string. I really haven't used these before, so let's actually try and use them. Literals? Okay. Whoa. Cool stuff. Using classes as the key type. Can be used as the key type. The behavior is controlled by the following members and functions of the class object. What the hell? My brain? Override. Oh, that's for like when you have a default class where you're inheriting from it. What? Wow, there's some really cool stuff in there. Some really cool stuff exists. I just want to do some basic, so you would put an int in there, or like you could put a string. I'm guessing I can do path, string, path. And I would declare it using their other examples. I didn't know there's a D-lang? Oh. Well, now you know, man. Let's go back up to the top example. So in the top example, they are assigning... How are they doing it? So you can either set the value associated with the key to hello to equal 3. Int value equals AA hello. So they have string AA. Oh, it's an int type for the first part. And then they assign the value 3 to the word hello in that case. Yeah, there's a VLang out there, bro. VLang? VLang is crazy. This will also make it way easier later on, but this needs to be... We're gonna allocate this inside of there. I don't really want it to be outside of the main section of the class, because it doesn't need to be. It's not gonna be something created outside of it, so... I'm gonna move this down to here, since it needs to be moved down. So boom. Let's see. And I guess it's just assigning it like a normal one. You just have to assign fail equals bad argument, delaying equals data delaying. But would you call them in reverse? Oh my god. I don't know. Maybe array of arrays. Have 2 arrays. I know I don't want to call it with... What am I doing? The whole point of having the enumeration was so that way we could just call the enumeration. What? Put it back. Put that back. This is me being undecided. See, I want it back to enum. I don't want to try screwing around with that. I'm kind of confused by that. Let's not screw around with associative arrays. It seems like a bad idea. But anyway, for each arg of these... Actually, yeah. For each arg of... And then we just use these to assign the values. Or... Why are we doing for each arg? Oh. For each location of path. Oh, right, I wouldn't even need to... Okay, I'm dumb. I wouldn't even need to do any of that. Let's just redo it, so... String... Array... No, array. Path. And that's where we're gonna put these guys at. However... You need to do that. What are you programming? Oh, let me show you, for example... See, I really hate Java, and since I hate Java so much, I need to create a program so I don't have to hate Java as much. And I need to have a program that hates Java for me, so I don't have to hate it myself. Like the creators of sitcoms, or junk food, or packagers, Java's designers were consciously designing a product for people not as smart as them. From Paul Graham. Thank you for making that possible. There are undoubtedly a lot of very intelligent people writing Java, better programmers than I will ever be. I just wish I knew why. Steve Holden. It basically just spits out quotes from a text file, and it makes my day just a little bit better remembering that there's people who program Java for some reason, and then even though it's a dying breed, okay, we know the new Java is Rust. Oh god, so many people use Rust here, bro. What am I doing? Setting this equals to... Couldn't I just operate on the enumeration? I swear I can just do that. Can I for each that? This is where forums come into play. Delaying for each enum. Please have a forum post about this. Hi all, I'm getting unexpected results while trying to process symbols from a module. Some are enums. Let's see. Pragmas. I like that. Tuple? What's a tuple? I'm a bot, bro. Who's gonna inspect it and delete us? Yeetus deletes. Anonymous runtime entity groups different values. Sometimes referred to as tuples, though it is discouraged. Bro, I thought a tuple was like a list, but like lame. What is a Python tuple, by the way? Is that fucking lame? I bet it is. Python tuples. So a list, but lame. Got it. Also, Python is lame. Python, overrated. I need a list to hate Python for me. Anyway, path. I guess I could do this. I think this is a thing you can do. Assign to. That is a thing, I think. And then try that. Let's get rid of all of this. I'll just rewrite it later. And then also get rid of all of my... Actually, instead of getting rid of them... Where's the thing? / Or just do that. Just to make it simple. That way I can save those for later in case I need to re-reference it because I forget it again. What am I doing? Let's see. Will that compile? Let's see what I got. Let's just put... Oh god, I have so much unfinished shit here. Write lm, and then loc for location. And then, for now, don't initialize it. I want to see what happens if I don't initialize it. And then I'll try initializing it. But I think this is something I've seen before. I've never done this. That, specifically. I've never done that before. But I think that's what I want to do. God damn it. Stream equals path that fail. Where's that at? Congratulations, you're now up. Oh, never mind. By default, it's going to equal... failed because... lame. Cool. Very descriptive, great programming. Okay. What did it write out? Location. So the string can be as long as I want it to be. So 0 to like 4. I think 3 covers what I have for my paths. And then the path can be a depth of 3. So here's how I think it works. I assign 1. I do a comma, and I can do another one. Then I can do a comma and do another one. It's either this, or it's like, could potentially be, let me give an example. This, or some fucking boxes, bro. My boxes from the factory. Something along these lines. But I really don't know what I'm doing. And we'll see. Base Kate user, always use KDE defaults. You'll never be wrong. Yeah, I just use Kate with FVWM3 because I'm weird. So path, there's 3 paths we have, and they're all just /data/Java. Although we also need to assign a second string in there, so there'll be 2 strings. And it will be, 1 string is what it expects to get. So Java, for example, and then data/Java. Yeah, we can leave that. That'll be fine. That'll save us bytes later when I go to do that. D-lang. And then do data/D-lang. And then when it tells me I'm wrong because I'm dumb, we'll see what happens next. They have a array length of 1. Their array length of 1 means that you have 1 value. The array length should be 2. An array length of 3 means I can go 0, 1, 2, 3. Array length of 2 means I can go 0, 1. Oh, actually, I can go 0, 1, 2. So that's fine. That's 3. That means I can have 3 things here. Okay. Brain cells are kicking in right now. data slash viewer. And let's go ahead and make that look good. So pretty sure that will do the trick. This is like JSON, but worse. This is like JSON cringe, bro. Okay, save. Now, let's go ahead and compile. Alright, I expected that. Found comma when expecting... Makes sense. I think. Multiple declarations must have same type, not string and string 3-2. Oh. Wait a second. It is this, I think. Right? Either it's that, or like maybe you have to have two of them together. So, put all that in a box. Now, put the top of the box up there. This is getting worse and worse every time I do it, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So that means I can have 3 objects in the array. And then, yeah. I think... I put that at the bottom just so I can make it look a little bit better, slightly, kind of, sort of. Alright. Of type string dynamic to God damn it. String unknown, undetermined. Okay, fine. String dynamic. We don't know what we need to allocate. Just do it. Figure it out. CPU go bye-bye. Oh, I can't believe I got that to work. So what we're gonna do, we're now gonna write the line so I know what it looks like. Because I have no idea what that looks like. I've never seen that before, honestly. I'm surprised I got that to work somehow, but, you know, DMD compiler teaches you how to use dlang, so it's pretty easy. /gesture2 arg. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat, bro. Now, how do I find which arg? Sudo which arg? Oh. Am I stupid? Do I even need this? Meanwhile, in C, it's just like, the program crashed, here's the executable, figure it out yourself. I think I'm stupid. I think I can just enum and then use the enum to figure out the path. I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking enum, but I think you just... Bro, I'm probably dumb. Also, I don't like the way that looks. Make it like the other ones. Make it indented. Put a dent in it. Nice. Okay, that looks like a really cringe way of doing things. But, I don't know. We just call that .1, that .2, that .3. Enumerations for people who like things that look pretty. So, to all those people, go use C++, you lame weirdos. Anyway. So for each location path, right, Ellen? Loc. Let's see what this one does again. I think it was just this. So it just wrote the locations out. And then I just wanted to take the first one. So right, Ellen, loc1. And let's see what that gets us. So the value of loc is an array still. it's a string array, and then the value of 1 should just get us what we're looking for. Okay. Give us a 0 then. So 1 is the path, and 0 is the value that we need for the actual ternary operator. Nice. And so now, all I gotta do is check. No if statement. We're gonna go all ternary. Arg equals args as arg equals, and let's just put arg equals path. That's gonna be the determine, or loc1, loc0. And then that determines that, and then we can say that question mark, colon, exclamation point, comma, colon, exclamation point, comma, colon, exclamation point. If arg is not found in there, we'll have to add case handling for that to make it into failed. Failed because lame. However, that assigns this .arg. So let's get rid of that. And then let's see. And we'll add I. Oh, actually, no. So wait, actually, if it gets through the count, then like if it gets through all 3 of my paths, it's fine. You know what? It will work. So otherwise, it equals loc1. That's a weird way of doing it, but at least it gets us past all of the dumb shit I did in the last program. Which is a plus advantage. And that makes a 1 line for each loop. The most pretty fucking loop you can get. Nice. That's the best you can get a loop to look. So now I have right line arg, and then I have my for each. I got my string. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and DMD that. Arg, 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 arg. Let's go ahead and write out dealing. Java. And xorg. Ah, see, xorg isn't one of them, so xorg doesn't get assigned. Cool, so that works. Now, when it gets to the end, if it hasn't figured out the value, so since this is a dynamic array, I can basically take a length property. So before we get out of that, we're going to write the length just to determine if I can actually do that. Which I should be able to. Path dot length. And then do it again, DMD it. So now I've done the DMD path.length expecting. Alright. I'm dumb. My brain does this sometimes. I'm sorry. I apologies. DMD. Path length is 3, but if I add another one, like let's say, for example, I do this later on. What did I do? Index 0 is out of bounds for array length of. Haha. Comma. Slash. See if that works. Yeah, it will just work. And if I assign it later, see, that's what I'm accounting for. Is assigning things later on. Or maybe even making it dynamically able to just find the files in the path and then create the string path itself. which now is possible because I'm using a string instead of an enumeration. That makes it really simple. So yeah, we can just use path. So if we'll probably assign that outside of there. So what we'll do is we'll scope guard, and we'll create an I value, or not an I value. What that sounds like it's not a thing. Don't make things that sound like they're not a thing. Lol, lamau. Anyway, we're gonna do that. Scope guard there, and inside of that I'm gonna have an int I. It's gonna, or actually, let's go with a u short I. Just a standard, pretty conservative data type, I'd say. U short I. It's gonna be plus plus every time. Plus plus I. Once we get out of that, then we do the check. If or actually, instead of doing that, why don't we just do a Boolean? Bool found. And then also needs to set that. So bool found is going to also need its own. It's going to be false by default. I don't like checking two things at the same time. Bool found equals arg equals. Ooh, actually, we could just do an if statement. Actually, the idea was we assign it to true if it exits the loop before length. Or we handle... I don't like handling multiple things, though. I mean, I want to try to do this without putting multiple in this assessment. Try to think about it, because I want to be using the least amount of resources to do this as possible. But I think I'm dumb. I think it would be... Like, if you put an and here, then you have to be like, well, if it's that. However, we can also say that we have a if statement, and it checks that if statement every time, right? Every time it checks that if statement, if the if statement is true, it will just enter and do that, right? It goes into there. So the thing that's most likely to be true should always be first, which is something I know, because that will always be true, and then it will return and continue the loop. Although I don't think it really matters, because this is super high-level code, and it's going to be efficient, hopefully. You pray it's efficient. Well, I mean, as long as it's not C++, it should be efficient. Or Java. Or C#. Or J#. Which was what it was originally. J++ or whatever the fuck. or any other language, like Python. As long as it's fish-approved language, it will be good. We know that. Supporters, data viewer. Oh. Let's say we have an I here. Let's redo this. I have a better way of doing it. We'll determine when I equals length, and that will be the case where it goes and assigns it then. So, on the fourth one, it's just going to contain fail, and then we can put comma failed bad arg, and then insert loser for ultimate ultra gamer mode. Very good. That's peak coding. Now, if I equals path.length, so we don't want it to run that check every time. This may turn into that. It looks clean. We have a clean looking thing, but I don't want to assign arg. We want to do an if or a switch of some kind. Switch in case can do the trick for this. Technically, you could do a switch for a Boolean value. But we have multiple things going on, so it's going to have to be an if-else statement, which is ugly. Really ugly. I could just hide it in a function, but I don't want to do that. So we're just going to... we're just going to add another check. It should just skip the check every time, but I don't like that it's got to do a check every time. It might... I don't like that. Don't like that at all. How about... yeah, we could do that. Okay, actually, no. It's possible for us to do it that other way, honestly. Without counting it or incrementing it at all. This will keep it simple. I thought about it. I can actually pull it off. It is possible. So, all you do is u short I. Again, the same thing I was going to do at the start, but I was like, do I really want to do it that way? Answer is yes. Because this skips out on all the counting stuff. Unless arg was like a... it doesn't skip out on all of it. It still has to increment I. That's fair, though. I will take that over doing if-else. That looks okay. If I equals string.length, or why am I doing string.length, path.length, then cause bad things to happen. Just set it equals arg equals God damn it, now I have to figure out how to path index 3 or path and then the index path or yeah length and then 0 or no, it equals 1. There we go. Got it. I think that's valid. Yeah, I love saying I think. I'm a programmer. What can I say, guys? Index 4 is out of bounds. You know, it just needs to be a -1. You know, when you get to that point where you're like, yeah, I think that works, and it just compiles, and then you realize, core dump. After I got it to compile, I'm a programmer. What the hell? Failed bad. 100, sir. What the fuck? What did I do? How did I break it? Well, if I equals that dot length, it's in a for each loop. What's it gonna do? It's gonna go for arg length. But the thing is, is it that this could be an if statement instead. We could do an if statement, and it will work. Because that's how that works. Anyway. The problem is, though, it doesn't exit, so it continues going. We don't want to recheck all of them. And also, that's wrong, so let's redo that and see if we can get a better result. I don't think that's going to change much. I don't know where 100 sure comes from, bro. Where's 100 sure? Write ln arg. So when it writes the line arg, where's 100? What the fuck does that come? Oh. Bad args. Oh, I'm just a fucking idiot, bro. Of course it's putting loser. Man. Bro. I am stupid. That's the new one. And I'm spacing it out so I don't think it's some kind of fucking error. I thought it was 100 SCR. I was like, where the fuck is this coming from? At least it was like, oh, well, I know why it's broken. The reason it's broken is because you need to do an if-else statement. So, quit trying to avoid the if-else statements even though you're afraid of them, bro. You gotta just if-else it out. When in doubt, if-else it out. Fuck. I hate if-else, though. I don't want to if-else. I want a ternary for once. It's crazy, though, because I got a for each loop to do the same thing I did with, like, a case and a switch. Why would I even bother with the other thing? Jump to the most likely case of, I wonder if it's still more efficient, though. I mean, definitely in the source code lines, more efficient. But CPU usage, maybe. Maybe it's going to be a little less efficient. Anyway, if... And then we're going to go ahead and start off with the most likely case. If loc equals... if loc of 0 equals arg, then assign arg to equal loc 1. That assigns it correctly. Then, else if, and this is if I equals so if I, which is going to be a U-long now, which I don't like, because that's a lot of data to save to use in memory. But, me looking dumb today. Ooh-oh. Else if. And also, here's the advantage. All I have to do is just return. I didn't want to do that, but, you know, you have to just return sometimes. Actually, you can do a break. Which would be the most advantageous thing to do, is just to write break in there. Then it exits the whole thing. Cool. So that means that will equal that. Else if the I equals the other thing, path.length arg, well actually, yeah. Well, if it equals length and it hasn't found it yet, it just needs to assign it. So that's why this needs to exist. Arg equals loc 1 and then break. So that way it just defaults. That's the default, is else if. Essentially that's our default case. And that should pretty much be the most tiny else block, or if else block. I don't think ID needs to be U short with 65k max. No, that's fine. You're not gonna have more than 65,000 gestures. If you have more than 65,000 gestures, you have at least 10 circuses of people clowning on Java, and nobody needs that. I think the Java people don't want that. I don't want that. So, people clowning on Java. OBS Studio disconnected. Amogus? Oh, reconnected? Amogus? Let me see. Amogus, Bobby. Where's that? Oh, it's doing good? It's cooking? Sorry. My bad. Continuing. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, that's what I mean. It could be a U-byte with a... Oh. Alright. Let's go ahead and do that. U-byte. I just go with U-short since, I mean, if you have like 1,000... I don't know how you'd have 1,000 gestures, but... Fair enough. I would say yes, we can do that. Although there's some rules with these. I think it'll be fine, though. It will be fine. Let's go ahead and DMD gesture D. Data dealing, data Java, and then xorg is still defaulting itself to that. Let's go ahead and write ln for the I. Every time it does the loop, I want to write that out because I want to see what it looks like on the inside. 0, 1, 2, 3, xorg. Half dot length minus 1. Or we could do I plus 1. Anyway, but that's fine. That will give us a count. Failed bad args. I'm stupid. Congratulations. I'm stupid. You're a winner. Wow. Perfect amogus. Do it. Failed bad args. I am stupid. And then it finds the other two. Let's go ahead and continue onwards. So now after that, it's then onto appending the home. So to do that, you create a static home path. Static. Technically, you don't even need to static it, but if you just make it global anyway, they'll just reference it. It's essentially global at this point. And what we can do to assign this home path is literally just do a selective import at the top of Jester, I guess. I don't really like doing it in that way if I don't need to, but also we're going to be using that statically inside there, so I guess I could just import it globally in the program, but I guess that would be better. Yeah, let's import it globally. Standard, and then file, and then colon, this exe path. So that should get us to my next part of the program. So that will assign this exe path to home. Home's static. That means home doesn't change even if there's multiple threads and multiple gestures and whatnot going on. They all share home. I guess we could just do string home. Let's actually not static it. Let's just do string home. String home equals, and then this exe path. That will get us our this exe path. This home, or string home, is gonna. We might move that down somewhere, but string home will just be. Actually, it doesn't need to be called anywhere else. Why would I put it in the main space of the class? Let's put it down here instead. We might even use it in the for each loop. So there's that. Is there anywhere else I do selective imports? I don't really want to do them in the class though. I feel like if I put them in the class, it might be that'd be dumb, honestly. Although I don't think it really matters where you put them, as long as they're in the correct space, the correct scope. Anyway. And then you just append that to home. Wait, this is way simpler. What am I doing? What the hell? But yeah, then you just append... Actually, you set it equal to the path? Holy shit. This is way easier than yesterday. If we assign home... In fact, you don't even need that. Wow. This is incredible. That just simplified my code so much from yesterday. So yesterday, one of the things I did wrong, or one of the things that... Using the enum just overcomplicates shit, and then using the switch with that just made it even worse. And then using multiple different methods, stupid. And putting those methods in this constructor, yes, it's funny. But why would I do that? Also, since we know each class is only, or well, each of these class objects is only going to use one arg from the arg's runtime, I only have them initialize with one of those. So yes, while this 100-line program works, I have simplified it into just a main section, and then a very tiny constructor, and then a string array for the paths, but that's, yeah, it's what it is. And then a for each loop. But anyway, let's go ahead and compile it before we get ahead of ourselves, and let's go ahead and test. And now we have home Heisenberg, and then failed bad R's, because there's no XOR. Now, we implement the same features as before. Now this is where things get interesting, right? So, we need to either package this exe path with information about what the path is as well. I think we could use the string array for that, but I don't really want to. And this is where things got complicated before, was we were handling delaying. Can we have flag -c for color? Not yet. I'm not there yet. I'm just rewriting the entire code because it was terrible. We need to add in a random function, and then we need to call... Let's do two separate function, or methods. Let's do the method for... So void do thing creates that, and then what? What happens with void do thing? Then it calls another method? That makes no sense. Why would I do two method calls in the same thing? Just make a massive program. One massive method instead of calling multiple methods from each other. There's no point in calling multiple void methods in this case. So I got my for each loop. So we go down to here, and then we need to start initializing our random numbers. This is where we have to start doing counts of the file and stuff. And that's where things got weird. This is where things need to have their own method or function. So for this, I'm actually going to do probably ushort for a function or method. Get line count. Actually, let's just call it line count. It's a function. I'm gonna call line count. All it's gonna do is take the path and get us a count of the lines. But we don't need to call get line count unless it's needed. So let's see about that. We'll also do it in the constructor, and then we can save it for if this method, or when that method is called. Or we call that, and then we call the other thing, but I think it'd be smarter to call line count first. Or, no, only call it when it's needed. Plus, it's not going to be static either. So let's go with uShort lines in the main class space. And then we'll go ahead and initialize that in line count. So how that's going to work is I need to import file first. So to get our line count, we need to have import file lines in write-ln. So let's go ahead and we have that. Okay. So go down, and it should be one called for each I is 0, 0. There's been another for each string of I lines of F. For each, and then we do strings I file, or actually no, not lines I think that's what it was. Lines F. Okay, so your file object goes in here. Wait, how does that work? Oh, that's not right either. Write-ln. Return 0 for now, before we get into any of that. Also, instead of calling that lines, we're gonna get call it count. Counts, yeah, sure, counts. Instead of, I think what we can do is not even bother with that. I think we can just do open a file, right? So let's go ahead and auto file auto f equals, and then we'll set our file to equal the stuff we just got out of this, right? So we just got our arg out. Arg is going to equal that. And then what comes next? Read. So the read status. And then, since this is a file opening, what I'm going to do to make it look cool, and look really cool but not really, it's really nothing. Just scope in the middle of it. Scope on exit. Do the file close. Should be f.close. And I think it's that, but actually, I think this works. Write-ln lines of f. Let's see if that is a count or what that is. Using the result of a comma expression is not allowed. Sorry, am I confused or am I... Oh, I'm dumb. You know what it is? File. Forgot to put it as a file struct. Alright, nice. Let's go ahead and do the crash core dump. Cannot open file home Heisenberg. Delaying Jester 2 data. Ah, right, I forgot about that. So when we do that, this exe path, we need to remove the last, remove Jester from it before we can append that. So I guess we'll take arg equals, or actually, arg.length equals minus equals 6. Because we know, or actually it will be 7, since it is Jester 2. Now we have that. So that will remove 7. And it should still work. Let me go down to my other section. And it made it through a bunch of them. Now, of course, there is no one of those. And so that will just have to break that. Essentially, if it has this, then it should not run that. But either way, that's fine. So it should break the loop. No, we'll just do a return. Return. Let's see if that works. I think return will exit that. Otherwise, we'll have to do some more figuring stuff out. Let's see. What? Okay, no core dump, but... What the hell? File. What is this? Why is it in hex? The file is hex. Oh god, did I fuck something up? /n. Oh wait, that's lines. It's getting a line count for each of them. Data Java. And it gets us the line count, and then it's like Jester2 XORed. When it hits Jester2 XORed, it's like arg equals loc. Ah, yes. But that's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. So... What does this do besides return again? Why doesn't it want to do that? Why doesn't it write... Oh, I guess because it's... maybe it is executing in a new thread. I wonder if it is. I wonder if it's like executing a new thread or something. Oh my god, bro. I wonder if that's the case. I don't think it is. I think it just does them in sequence. I'm surprised it's not giving a fail. Anyway, we have Jester 1, and it gives us that. And then does it give us a line? Not really. It does give you the file. Whatever that might mean. Maybe that's a type? A header? Something? Something like that? They're the same on both, though. It's weird. It's like maybe some kind of access permissions or something. Maybe? I don't know. But it doesn't give you a count. So that's what I wanted, was a count. But that's okay. At least we found an error and fixed that. Which was arg.length equaling more than it should. Now, let's see. Every time it runs that, I mean, it doesn't run that unless it actually is true. Alright. So let's see what else I got going on here. Let's see if we can get close to where we're at the random number generation part for next episode. I just want to get the line count and then get maybe some random gen done. And I'll try to get the colors implemented as well. Maybe in my own time. I do want to try that out. That'd be a great idea. Implement -C for color. I will do that. That's some... actually, no, that wouldn't work though, because maybe if it's at the end, the last arg can be a -C flag. But since I don't have a parser for it, it doesn't parse the args the way you'd think. What it does is it does runtime.args and then 1 through length, right? So it takes that, gets our args of length. I guess I could subtract -1 or -2, and then you just append those at the end as needed or as wanted. And if you do just a regular -C, it's the default, but if you do a -C in it, then I have to implement like case handling and stuff. I don't really want to do that exactly. I could implement colors, like I could set Java to red. Yeah, maybe some flag may be cool. Like, I mean, we've messed around with it, but I don't really know if I want to do that, because it's like, kind of a lot of stuff to implement. I don't know. It's a thought to consider. I don't know. Because then I'm going to have to get into... I mean, maybe, like, I could do a 3-letter, and then if it only has 1... But, like, that gets boring, because then I'm writing a case that has to account for, like, a bunch of stuff, and then it's, like, a bunch of switches and cases. It's not really fun for me. I don't know. I just like to write code for fun. But maybe I'll implement it. I don't know. We'll see how it does. So yeah, that's pretty much how this is gonna work out. And instead of doing that, this all goes in the scope. The reason we have to do it this way is because this will protect the home value if I do any changes to the home value. I don't think I will be. I think after home is assigned, that's the case handling right there. And then pretty much if we use these to handle the cases, so for each loc of path, it does a check. Now, the case handling can also happen there, and that's it. So right now it returns 0, but we're gonna have that return a count. So we'll do u short I. Actually, u short, yeah, I. And then that's the count. Or no, we already have counts. So u short line count is just gonna assign counts. Technically, that can be void. So we can just call a void method to assign the line count. It might need to be static, though it won't be able to access a non-static member if it's static. But that's only if we call it from the constructor. If you call it from the constructor, you would need to do something like this counts equals this dot and then return a value. I don't want to, you see, I don't have to return. I can just assign. So on scope exit file.close, let's go ahead and, oh, it does need to pass arg_t. It does need to pass arg. Oh, actually, it could just access arg from the top. If arg is that, then do that. However, how do we know if it's going to do a one-liner or what? So one-liner or range access. So the first two we know, or actually the first one's a one-liner, the second one's a range, and the third one's a one-liner. I want to make it easy to determine which ones are one-liners. So either I include this somehow and create a struct to pack it all together and just send a struct to operate on, or I assign a value up here and say if it's this, then boom. And then we just add another case handling thing, but I don't really want to do that. ubyte id, comma, type. There's only two types, which is range and single. Actually, you can't do type. Let's just do, hello, just got here, what you coding? I'm glad you asked, because now I get to show it off. Basically what we're coding is that we're redoing my program from yesterday, which I wrote because I hate Java programmers a lot, and I really don't want to hate them so much. So, I kind of have to write a program that hates Java programmers for me, and it's kind of a work in progress. Well, this is not a work in progress. This one's already finished, but I'm rewriting it now, because I think I can do it better than I did yesterday. You can also write out delaying and tell me all about delaying. So it's a really nice tool for Java programmers. Oh shit, did I just close the terminal? Oops. Oops. Is Kate open? Kate's open, right? Yeah. Maybe we add a third one. And then we assign it to the third one. Wait. What? Oh, maybe? So it's a string array of arrays, right? And then, of course, if you have an array of arrays, you can include a third one. It's just common sense. You could have a 2 in there. So obviously, we all know that the 1 is going to be that one. And then its type is going to be string. If it was associative, I could have a different type associated with it. which could be Boolean, but I mean, I guess I could just do, like, the character T. But it's still a character array, which means it's packed differently. So, that's fine for exception handling, I guess. The problem is, now I have to set the... Oh. I have to set another string at the top. I guess we'll just keep it as a string and keep it simple. Arg, and then if arg is not alone anymore, arg now has a friend, and his name is what do I call it? Is range, or no? God damn it! I hate naming variables, bro. Now I'm stuck. What was I gonna call it before? I had like a great idea. Fucking type was the one I came up with, but I mean type. Oh, we'll just do TYP. It's like type, but without the E. That's better. I think that's good. So T, and then we'll just do F. Since we only have 2 types, we'll just create a bunch of T's and F's. But strings are the least efficient data type besides structs and classes. Well, I mean, classes are reference type, but still. That just means, all that means is that you reference it instead of making copies. And it can have methods and do inheritance and a bunch of other stuff, which is really, really nice. Maybe they are like kind of like a data type. I feel like everything's basically just a data type, but then with extra steps. I don't know. I'm just speculating. All right, so that creates arg, right? So that makes our arg, but the TYP is gonna equal the 3. So, loc 2. So that's how I figured it out. Boom. A string array of strings. String arrays. Wow. Nice. I like that. Type. So we got type. So that will determine how the random number is, or, well, what random numbers it needs to generate. Obviously, if the type is T or F, it will be different. Obviously, this one is a fail, so there's no need for a third one. So obviously, if it hits fail, because it will never hit fail, it won't ever try to append that in there. If for some reason, somehow, you put fail, and it appends this, I guess it could potentially happen because of how I wrote it. I think it is definitely possible. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that. Instead of XOR, let's put fail at the end. It will throw a core except core dump. Or exception. One of those two. So that basically just means that it needs a nothing. Fail. Sure, why not? Put the fucking 4-letter fail in there. That will be beautiful. Failed bad args. Oh, wait, it included a path. Failed. So it included a path to something? Anyway. Alright, well, I'd like to thank you all for watching, but I'm going to wrap it up early today. I know it's a bit earlier than usual, but I got a lot of stuff going on right now, so I got stuff I need to do, so... I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and, oh, what program do I use to code? I didn't see that. That's my bad. I use Kate. K Advanced Text Editor. I'd say it's pretty good. I feel like it's definitely a little bloated, though. As far as stuff I don't need, but it's good. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and,